this conversation, I already said, I was thinking about like, how did I get here? Why, how am I here in between these people? How am I witnessing this so close? I was, I was a homeless teenager. I had a really like difficult upbringing, no science education to speak of. Um, and then here I was, and I had only been in the space industry for, at that point, like a year, maybe. And so it made me realize that this awe-inspiring moment was one of those kind of like an overview effect moment, which at the time, I really wanted to share the overview effect with the world. I still do. But that to me was like an accessible version where we could kind of we could get a new perspective, maybe not on our place in the universe specifically, but definitely on our time and the evolution of ourselves and the evolution of our species and what we are capable of. And for me, it just gave me so much exhilarating, inspiring hope. And I had to share that with everyone. So when I met Ryan just 2 months after that, and discovered what he was doing, it was just like the rest is history. We formed Cosmic Perspective. We fell in love. We got it. I sold my camper, got into his, and
I,
we
I
chased rockets
I have a
across.
question for you. Have you ever asked him that same moment you just described to us?
Yeah.
If you can even remember maybe the date that that happened, have you ever asked him about um, whether or not he had an experience on that same date? Like, I just the reason I ask this is because um, I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan and all, but you just sound like you're having like Jedi experiences where you like had that moment where everything stops and you like see the whole future because of one thing. You know what I mean? I just wonder if he experienced the same thing you did, and if you guys had like that moment where you talked about it and you were like, "Yeah, same day,
Hello
same
guys,
time. I was thinking the same thing."
all of you for
Like,
the good
and
morning.
if not,
All of
that's
you.
fine. Like maybe you guys came to that realization at different times, but I'm very curious
I'm
if you
back
guys
on a stream the early
potentially had that
morning
moment.
to doing
Well,
that
I will say that
the
he definitely
conversation
experienced
with
that
some
on that
people,
at that same moment while
the
watching
message
Falcon
speaker
Heavy,
on
especially
the phone.
watching the two boosters coming
I'm just
back.
talking with
That's where
the
he
big
always
group.
talks about that.
Just
But you
see
have to
how the
understand
weekend
he
goes.
had been
I will give you the
documenting
open talk
rocket
with
launches a lot longer. He'd been in the industry. I think CRS-5 was his first launch, if I'm not mistaken. It's been almost 7 years for
Cosmic
him,
says
like almost
it's
exactly
amazing.
to the day. And so for him, it started with that first camera placement at the launch pad. He was always a dark sky photographer. He wrote a book on time lapse photography. He used to teach people how to capture the night
Hello
sky.
Cosmic.
And so that is another place where I know he got that perspective and that sense of awe. That is unmatched when you go to a dark sky site and you see the Milky
Hello
Way
Cosmic,
with your
I'm
own
fine from
eyes,
chat.
and then you
Okay.
capture that with
Hello.
your camera, and you can take
Good
that
morning
home.
to all
That
of
is
you.
that's huge. And then the next was when NASA invited him to the NASA social program, which allowed him to act as media and place his first camera at the launch pad. and,
Good
and
morning
he
for
just was
the
so
everybody.
exhilarated with
I am the Gaurav Joshi.
the entire process of creating the little robotic triggers that he had to create for his really special cameras, because he uses high speed cameras, and the VR cameras and all of that, they don't work as well with, or they don't even work, many of them, with the digital trigger systems that a lot of folks use. And so he had to like fashion these mechanical finger robots, and it was just an exhilarating time for him to do all of that and then leave the launch pad and then watch the launch from up close and
How
then
much
go
you
back. For him, it was that moment of going back and
maintenance
picking up the camera to
part.
see what he captured,
Actually,
and that to see that it worked and that it was something that he could share with the
main
world.
reason
And
was
so,
he don't want
yeah,
to achieve
it came much earlier than me for sure. But I think that that Falcon Heavy demo flight for us was a big game changer. I know his gorgeous engine shot of that made waves and made magazine covers, and it was kind of a turning point for his career as a rocket launch photographer.
Awesome. Honestly, like I'm, you're giving me faith that I might have that same moment. one day, because in all reality, like, you know, I think it was one of the very first things you mentioned tonight, is that most people here probably went through like one of the lowest moments of their life right before they discovered Starship. Um, and you know, thinking back on that moment and thinking about like what led you to start pursuing a Starship, I mean, and you know, thinking back on that moment and thinking about like what led you to start pursuing a Starship.
When you go to a dark sky site and you see the Milky Way with your own eyes.
I personally did a lot of different things before I started following Starship, and I feel like it kind of like guided me onto this path that I'm on now. You know, it guided me onto 180.
Project and run point. Okay, hello everybody.
When they drop that documentary, I promise you that you're gonna be, you might even be angry about to them. You might be mad that they didn't share all this stuff with you as
Oh,
it was happening. And matter of fact, I take it back. You will be mad. You will be mad that every day they didn't release a video, because the I already know, and I don't have to see it. I know that the footage that they have is far beyond anything that you guys have seen. I promise you that right now. So you're gonna wake up angry when the pre-orbital launch documentary comes out, because you're gonna watch the entire thing and you're gonna be like, "Well, Mary Liz, why didn't you share this with us earlier? Why are we
well,
finding out today?"
Before we get too far, I want to echo both of y'all's sentiments that the community around space is what got me through the pandemic. Going down to Starbase and meeting the people and getting to see the amazing engineering and the inspiration that you get from knowing what is possible has really it's improved my life and made it better, and I'm thankful every day for it.
Hey, Mary Liz,
yeah.
would you mind talking a little bit about like the nuts and bolts when you were talking about setting up the cameras and stuff? Would you mind talking a little bit about the nuts and bolts of how you guys go about working with NASA to do that, get permission? How far ahead do you need to be? Like, for example, are you guys already in the process if you want to capture SLS in any way? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so it's different based on the different missions, but if it's something that anybody here is interested in, if you're a photographer and you want to document this, or perhaps you're a writer and you want to document, it's actually kind of a long process of either establishing yourself with a media organization that has slots available that you can apply through to NASA, or SpaceX, or ULA in other scenarios. But then what we did, I started out, I was working at the Planetary
What is
Society,
actually
and I
the
just made the
she was
case
talking
to
about?
Bill. I was
What
like, listen, we need to
absolutely
be covering
she's
these
always
launches.
talk about
And I
the
was the associate
SpaceX,
producer
NASA,
of the
and
Planetary
someone.
Radio
Okay,
podcast at the time. So I pitched to them,
and
like, let me
just
go apply
we can
as
her. I
media
can
and
just
cover
we
some
can
of these
listen.
launches.
She's a
And
voice
that's what I
right
did, and that
now. We can
worked.
able to
And it
listen.
actually
So
took a
she's a
lot of
voice.
time.
She's a cosmics
Actually,
and
NASA
perspective.
didn't immediately approve us because they didn't think we were a bona fide media organization. We really were a nonprofit space, kind of community organization. So that made sense. But eventually they did end up giving us access, and I'm so grateful for that. And then over time, when Ryan and I co-founded Cosmic Perspective, we finally did everything that we needed to do. We asked Kennedy Space Center media credentialing folks, what are you looking for in a media organization? What makes it bona fide? What do we need to do? And so we set up our LLC, and we went through all of the steps. We got ourselves in the media database that they look at. And then we applied and we crossed our fingers, and sometimes we got denied and sometimes we got approved. And then we had to work really hard to continue to get approval. So we're really, really grateful that that's an opportunity that we've been given. And it's a lot of hard work, but it's so worth it. So I just recommend going straight through those channels and asking for what they need.
So now that you're approved, do they reach out to you, or do you have to send in some kind of a formal request that you're going to cover it, you're going to set up for it, all that, etc.?
Yeah. Great question. So there is a if you can look it up. You get basically on like a listserv, so it's an email notification, or you can just I even just hit refresh on the Kennedy Space Center media credential page. You know, now that I live here in Starbase and John Pisani covers all of the Cape Canaveral launches for us, I don't have to do this anymore. But it is a process of making sure you are paying attention and you don't miss the notification or just the update on the website that it's open for application. If you are a foreign national, if you're not a U.S. citizen, it takes a lot longer. It takes like months sometimes to get approved. And if you are a U.S. citizen that has no issue getting on a military base, then it's a lot less involved. But there is a whole process of going through their form system, and then they take time. Once they have an actual launch date, they reach out to your editor typically. Now that's me, so they'll reach out to me and ask me if this person is actually on assignment for us, and I say yes. And so it's a whole rigmarole, but worth it.
So one of the things that I feel like your guys' audience is much bigger than just the United States, and I think there's some people here who are outside the United States that I want to give a chance to talk. One of them, DJ Esmeralda, I want to give you a chance to talk if you would like to. I know that he likes to cover SpaceX activity in South America. Hector Ramos, I actually think you're probably from the United States, but if you would like to give a South American point of view, then you're equally welcome. Anybody else who would like to speak, please raise your hand. We will approve you. We were definitely welcome, like hearing all these outside point of views. Me especially, like hearing all these questions that you guys are challenging Mary Liz with is amazing. Like I don't think we're gonna get these kind of answers without hearing the documentary, you know what I mean? So this is like the pre-documentary for me, unscheduled pre-documentary. But yeah, with that, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, Tyson, did you come back on stage and not ask?
I did. I had some kids that woke up, so I had to go tend to them real quick before I joined back in.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so actually, Hector is one of our community members and is always down here helping out Jessica Kirsch and other community members to document Starship and share live streams and so forth. I can't remember where he lives, but it's not far. It's not far away. There are so many amazing people in here, and I want to give a shout out. I already mentioned these folks at the beginning, but I don't think they were here. Nicholas Jakubik and Andrew Keating are here. Talked about like the CP crew, Cosmic Perspective crew, and the folks that really help us make all of this happen. And Andrew's the one like designing the incredible audio capturing systems that will make all the difference. I can't wait for him to capture an actual flight.
Yeah, I'd like to just add that transforms the experience of watching these launches, and even just like the static fires. It's with a pair of headphones on, it just you are transported.
Well, Mary Liz, one thing I can tell you is that you do not have to apologize for shouting at your team because, I think they all deserve recognition. And I think it's really helpful for people to know like where a lot of this content that they see every day comes from. Like me myself, I my Twitter page is called CSI Starbase. I spend a lot of time like diving into um, some of the things that a lot of people would not even realize about Starbase. Like that's my main goal is to just provide that kind of content. And while I can do that pretty much every day of the week, it wouldn't be anywhere near the level that it is without the people that are on my team. So, I know you probably have a similar sentiment. So by all means, like, you don't have to give them the short shout out, like, if you want to talk about the people who make it possible for you to do what you do, you should do so, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said earlier, it's, here in CPHQ, I call it, it's Ryan and me kind of just editing videos all day long. I've been writing soundtracks for like almost a week straight, which is actually just wonderful. And but it's a lot of work, like you said, we're never not at Starbase when there's something going on. We have NASA spaceflight live and Lab Padre live, like we have an incredible mission control dashboard system in our home. So even though we live here, we're always just watching to see if any slight movement takes place, and then we have to suddenly, you know pause what we're doing, pause the video editing, race out the door, and drive down to Starbase, which actually is like a 42-minute drive from here because we have to go around the water. So that's the only bummer about living in Port Isabel, I'll say.
That's why you live in SN16 like me.
Yeah. Although, like Tim, I'll tell you, I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, that would be the perfect place. Um, and again, it's, Nick really helps us.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, yeah, go for it. Welcome.
Oh, we could hear you, but
Well, hold on, hold
dropped
on.
out.
Let me point out one thing that a lot of people are going to notice as a trend on these spaces is that people who are on the other side of the world, like India, are going to have a little bit of a delay, so they may tend to talk over us. Don't judge them. We can give them some time to get back on the same like sync up. But yeah, that's definitely a thing that's going to happen, and that's actually a reason why we should let people in one by one so we can compensate for that problem. But I just want to make everybody aware of that. But yeah, go ahead and ask your question.
I think he's a listener.
Yeah, he dropped out and became a listener, I think.
I invited him to speak.
I tried to.
And then while we're waiting, I'll just wrap up what I was saying. But, Andrew is such an incredible asset. Like I said, he assists with, and he will be assisting with so much, because there is so much work I can't even begin to explain. I know some people in this room totally know what I'm talking about, like Jessa and Hector and others. Nick's seen it. It is so incredible to set up a massive live stream, especially when you got cameras out in remote locations. There are Wi-Fi dishes involved, and it is completely ridiculous. So to do it, just the two of us it wouldn't even make sense. It's not even possible. We had tried that in the past in Cape Canaveral and just wanted to never do that again. So now Team Space comes together, Nick, Andrew, and then the whole Everyday Astronaut crew. It makes, like, when we all band together to do something bigger than what we could do, that's when the real magic happens, and I'm so grateful. I do not want to do
and that's exactly why we're doing the podcast.
Yeah, we are doing the podcast.
Yeah, Mary, go back to what you were saying about like the challenges of setting up those live streams. Like I remember like in the original days, like when y'all were down, like when Tim was down in Starbase, when Star Hopper was first being built, his streams would always be like, oh, I'm having to deal with overheating equipment, I'm having to deal with all of these challenges, and y'all were really like just the pioneers of figuring out what it would take. And Lab Padre, I'm sure, you know, they had to figure out all these challenges that would just be, and the more people that get out there to set up these streams, you know, I'm sure the bandwidth is limited, but I can't imagine how difficult that's going to be.
Yep, I was talking to Lab earlier today, and he's still fighting that, especially the data. So I do want to offer, if anybody would like the opportunity to speak, just go ahead and put a request in, and I'll promote you to speaker, and you can ask your questions to Mary Liz and Ty, and you know, if you want to talk to Grandpa Joe or Golden Boy, you know, we'll be happy to ask your questions too. So Mary Liz, let me ask you this: you were on a simulated mission to Mars. Would you, having been through that, go to Mars?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I am a natural born explorer. I always have been. I think in the I'm going to mention it a lot because it's one of my favorite books, but in the overview effect, I think it's the beginning chapter, Frank White talks about the explorer fish, right? The fish who first decided to leave the water, not even knowing what water was because it was just their environment, right? To leave the water and go up to land. And he talks about how they're just, that's a gene that runs through many of us. We are explorer fish.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. I would like to say though, if it weren't for that fish, I wouldn't have to go to work on Monday, and you know, so I kind of blame that fish.
You wouldn't get the chance though. You wouldn't even.
I know. We do have DJ Esmeralda back, and we would love to hear from him. DJ, if you could, go ahead and unmute yourself and give it a shot.
Hi guys,
we can hear
you
you.
hear me?
Perfect. Go for it.
Nice. How are you doing, guys?
Doing great.
Nice. Nice to meet you guys from Cosmic Perspective, and Jessica, and obviously Zack Golden and Grandpa Guy that we arrived out in, I think was in La Padre Discord, I think.
Yes, sir.
So
we've talked on several Discords. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, so many news here from here. Like, first of all, for those who don't know, I'm Argentinian. I'm from South America. Yeah.
Yo hablo argentino.
Yeah, nice.
I speak Argentinian Spanish.
You got to respond to her in Spanish.
Oh my God,
English, por favor.
Oh, nice. So yeah, you know, having the NASA Space Flight streams, Jessica stream, La Padre stream, all of the sort of information coming from Starbase is really appreciated, because here we have so many things with you know, internet and that, so it's very difficult to have some updates coming from there. And you know, my dream for the future is to become a SpaceX engineer. Hopefully
awesome.
not. Yeah, I really love the company. The Starship project is freaking amazing. So if you think that it's so difficult because the ITAR problems.
Yeah.
But if you think, if you don't try, you will not make it. So I will try going to there, try to work first at Tesla, and then, you know, try to become a US citizen, and let's see, maybe.
I love it. Can I share with you related story. The first time I ever spoke with Elon Musk, he said,
Oh.
So I asked him, it was in a press conference. Actually, it's on YouTube. And what's so cool is that his response was so amazing that people use his response when they're introducing him on award show stages and things. It was such a cool moment because it was the launch of DM1, which was the first time they sent an uncrewed Crew Dragon capsule to the International Space Station autonomously. And that was a crucial step to make sure that it was ready for humans. And so when that launch took place, it was late at night, it was gorgeous. I remember racing to the NASA press room because I heard someone whisper, I think there's going to be a special guest tonight. And so I raced to the press room. I was the first one there, like a, nerdy school kid. And I sat in the front row and I was ready. I raised my hand the second that the press conference began. And I was sitting right in front of Elon. And I out and adversity and all of the challenges that come along with that big, almost impossible dream. How does it feel to finally be at this stage? And what advice do you have to other dreamers that want to achieve something great like this? And his response is hilarious because he takes that awkward pause and then he says, yeah, well, I always thought we were going to fail. And then everyone laughed. He's like, we had like 10% chance of reaching orbit. And he goes on and he goes on. And then eventually he pauses, he thinks, and he says, well, it's worth a try anyway. Like, we all died laughing. And then he went on to say those beautiful things that we hear him say all the time, which is, we don't want science fiction to be science fiction forever. We want it to be real one day. And I just thought it was so beautiful for him to say, I always thought we were going to fail because the odds were against me. They were against us. I almost lost all my money, everything. Everyone told me that it was going to fail. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right, but it's worth a try. It's just so simple and beautiful.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's amazing. And yeah.
Well, and I will say that was a grandiose story, but like, I don't think that your idea is so far-fetched. I think that's totally achievable, and I really hope to talk to you when you're down here working on Starship in a couple of years or whenever.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now, I'm working right now on Road to Mars project, and oh my God, it's so amazing to see the scale of things there in the game, and I think I will cry so much when I go there. Why?
Oh my
Because
yeah.
when I saw SN8, the SN8 flight, I really cried with your documentary. It's wow. Simply, it's wow.
You
I didn't
cried?
really. I'm sorry.
Were you alone, or did you have somebody with you? That's the question I want to know. Because it makes all the difference. Like if you have somebody to appreciate what they did, that's different than just handling it by yourself. DJ, no response. Okay, he was by himself. DJ is a part of my Discord server, so I think maybe that was the day that he showed up to that server and used us to hold his hand.
Yeah, I was really sorry. So yeah,
Hello everyone.
maybe
on stream. You can see me.
I don't know
just live.
when I going to Starbase. Maybe.
DJ, I have a question for you. I hate to interrupt you. but hopefully it's worth it. I want to know, what does Latin America think about the SpaceX program? Like, what does the rest of the world think about what we all spend so much time obsessing about every day?
Yeah. So, okay. Here, at least in Argentina, sorry, um, there are not that much people that think about SpaceX, and so because the economy and governmental things here, but there are the people that think about SpaceX and the other companies and going to Mars, and so I think,
Hello, I love you. Hello.
and they think also
Hello.
that we need to do this. Why?
Can you hear me?
Obviously, because if some
Okay, okay.
asteroid or meteor or whatever,
Really hear me?
it's going to the
Absolutely.
to Earth
So,
and crash on it, we
I
will
wanted
die,
to ask you this one
all of us.
question.
So
Like,
we need to improve. We need to have Starlink. So many people think that Starlink isn't good enough here because the price here in Argentina, the US dollar is so expensive. So Starlink isn't that good right now to pay for it here. But yeah, so many people are really, I don't know how to say it in English. Um, how can I
Excited?
say this?
Get this.
Yeah, excited. Yeah, that word. Sorry, my
You're
English
fine. You're
sometimes.
good. You're good.
Yeah.
Your English is always more than acceptable for me. And really quickly, I don't want to. I want to continue this conversation, but I think my co-host Grandpa Joe has to step away, so I want to give
I
him a
Oh,
chance to say adios.
I do, and this is not the end for the space. I think Zach still has plenty of time, and we'll be doing this as often as we can for as long as we can. Mary Liz, I just want to say it has been such a pleasure meeting you, interviewing you, and going over all of our mutual friends. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, and I love your name.
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Grandpa Joe.
Anytime.
And
Um,
can I just say,
yeah.
Esmeralda, I did not know that you were the creator of the Road to Mars VR experience. Is that what you said?
no, I'm not the creator, but I'm on the team, the development team. So yeah.
Well, it's the most incredible thing, and I think that it's going to be so cool. I like the perspective that you shared about working on that project and trying to understand the space and the sense of scale, and you all do such a fantastic job. But then what it will be like when you actually come, and it'll feel really surreal, I think. To
Yeah,
Really
totally,
amazing.
totally.
The game explained the game changing.
Yeah, so I joined the team only because the the actual creator of the game experience is Alexander. So he's doing an amazing job, and I really want to share some things that you can't understand without seeing it. So Road to Mars is the perfect example of scale of things there in Starbase. Yeah, maybe I already said when I go into Starbase, when I'll be there, I will cry.
I'm just raise a
I will
hand
I,
cry.
for the
everybody does.
topic.
Everyone.
Yeah,
It'll happen.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty unavoidable.
I I need to meet you guys. So many people that are amazing. The entire space community there is such an amazing people. So I really want to be there, and maybe meet with Austin Barnard, my
Yeah.
one of my idols in there.
Just
Now
cosmetics
working
this
at
thing,
SpaceX as a technician,
how much we will
thermal
pay the
protection
maintenance for the
integration technician,
bathroom,
I
Yes.
think.
Garena
Yep.
will cater. I saw it
So
online.
yeah, he's amazing, and I really want to meet you guys there.
Yeah, I mean, if any of you guys ever like take the random trip down here, you know, you don't really have to schedule it. One of those things that you can guarantee is that if you hang out near the launch site when major things are happening, you might run into Mary Liz Bender and Ryan, and you know, that alone is worth taking the trip. And you know, it's really just a trip down like memory lane / history when you go down there, and there's not too many better people you can be standing next to in that situation.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I love the entire thing there.
I believe my co-host has left for tonight. Grandpa Joe is gone, so I think I might have to recruit another one.
I just brought Agdo up on the stage.
Okay.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but
is he welcome? Did he accept it?
he did.
Jessica Kirsch sent me a long message about all these things that she wanted to tell everybody tonight, but she hasn't. She just has to respond so she can speak. She said she had a long story that she wanted to tell people about. But...
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to say, well, thank you so much for this meeting. I was listening to, well, I don't understand exactly what it is. I know that DJ, the last guy who speaks, I think he works for the SpaceX and he's in Argentina. I don't really figure it out exactly what's going on, but thank you so much for doing this. It's kind of something that I would like to do. I live in Colombia, in Palmira, that is like a South America country. And I'm a big fan of SpaceX and all the Elon Musk companies. I think this guy is doing something really, really amazing. And thank you so much for doing this kind of things. It's like an inspiration for me. And maybe one day I will doing these kind of things in the real life. Thank you. I just want to share it.
Yes. Thank you. I hope you do.
Yeah.
That's the only bummer about Twitter Spaces. It's beautiful because we can connect from all over the world, but I really wish that we were just all hanging out next to Starship and talking, and we
Okay.
could see each other.
Yes, the chip is amazing. The last thing that I saw was those big bags. Yeah, for simulate like the weight of the Starship with Mechazilla.
Mm.
That's funny. Many memes
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that got everybody very excited.
Yeah.
That was very silly.
Yeah. I only want to share that. Thank you so much for doing this. Kind of cool.
You know, while we continue to accept people, you know, if any of you guys have questions about Starship as well, you know, we're here for that. I think Mary Liz has a lot of opinion on that stuff too because she sees it firsthand all the time. So you know, don't be afraid to ask her some technical questions. I'm pretty sure she can handle it. So,
We can always.
What was that?
We can always try.
Exactly. I got your back. Don't worry. Philip, I just added you as a speaker.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about what DJ said. It reminded me a lot of what Elon's talked about, in that, you know, one of the outcomes is success, right? As long as you try. Right. I think a lot of us are very privileged to actually be from America and just be able to fly down to Boca and have it happen. But, you know, Elon's last interview was actually, you know, very inspiring in the fact that he said they were asking him if he thought it would work, and he said, well, one of the possible outcomes is success.
Amazing guy.
So I'm going to go for it. And I think that's such an inspiring comment that he made that I've thought about since that interview. So, you know, DJ and everybody else that is on here from other places, like, I think one of the possible outcomes is success. So just keep it up and, you know, pay attention to what's going on. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, not only is it one of the possible outcomes, it's probably one of the most probable outcomes as well. I mean, everything that Elon Musk has told us that he was going to do over the last pretty much 20 years has happened. So, 20 years in, are we really going to start doubting him? Doesn't really seem like the right move to me.
Yeah. Philip, that was the Lex Friedman podcast, right? So good.
Yeah.
That was the best Elon interview I've ever seen, because finally someone asked him almost entirely about space and then love, as Lex does, and he tries to get philosophical and emotional. It was really, really good and deep. And what he was saying in that moment that you're talking about really, so I'm on the spectrum, and I know Elon's on the spectrum. I knew that the moment I first met him. But I found it really fascinating when Lex asked him a certain question, where Lex said, and that's what produced that answer. It was, how do you find the inspiration or the hope
Yeah,
to
very
keep moving forward
highlights in it.
when you're facing the impossible? Because Elon kept saying, yeah, it might fail, it might not work. He's like, well, how do you conjure up the courage to keep going, or just the sheer will to continue on? And Elon was like, oh, he didn't even understand the question. It broke his brain. He's like, oh, that's not even, well, because there's just no option but to just do it. So you don't think about, whether it's this or that. Like, I don't need to turn to anything to keep me going. I just do it because I have to. This is what I want to do. I thought that was
Yeah,
great.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I even experienced this in my own profession,
Please,
which is not space or engineering,
please
but
make me
if I'm going to
speaker.
go down some
Please.
path, is one of the outcomes possibly success? Well, then just, keep going until it says it's not success, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that could apply to so many different parts of everyone's lives and journeys in life, and it's a great comment.
It's kind of how you perceive everything. If we might be kind of trained on ways of thinking, but it seems like he's just got his perception is different, and it kind of strikes us as different, and it's amazing.
Yeah, the thing that's amazing to me though is that the things that he's doing are very costly, inexpensive, like, so if he's wrong.
Yeah, it's a big hit. I'm grateful. I wish it wasn't that way, that we didn't require, billionaires to have to do this, or billions of dollars to pursue these things, but that is just the way the world works, and I
Absolutely
feel
amazing that you've
so
seen to lots
grateful
of the
that we
people as a
lucked
top
out and we
on
got
the
an Elon, and we got the other folks that are doing amazing
cosmic
things all
perspective. Is
around the
really,
world with
she's a
their
real
money.
genius.
um
Like he's a
yeah,
matured about
I worry a lot about
some.
how there might not
He's
be
now
more
already
to
knowledgeable
follow,
about it.
but I think
Yeah.
he's
Amazing.
inspired so many that
Right. Hey, Mary Liz, really quick, I want to be respectful of your time. I just want to know, how much time you got, because I got all night. Honestly, I do this every day. I don't want to keep you here longer than you're willing to be.
that's
But
very
we can get pretty deep into questions. I think I personally have more layers of things I want to ask you. I think that may inspire more questions from the audience. It really depends on you.
Hello,
Yeah, I
Jared
really
and
appreciate that.
Cosmos.
I actually didn't I didn't have any
Can you
time,
hear
but
me?
I really wanted to do it. So I keep kind of looking at the clock and I'm like, I should totally get back to work. But this has been so much fun. So what if we do just maybe 2 or 3 more questions and then I'll hop off, but we do this
Oh,
again.
of course.
And
Yeah. You're more than welcome at all times. Like any day that you see us doing this, please hop in and make sure that you're the first person we invite, because definitely appreciate your presence and just like the general positivity and like inspiration that you bring when it comes to like the conversation of spaceflight. But yeah, I wanna, let's see. We have Ash Acto. He actually deleted all of the not consonants, but whatever the opposite of consonants out of his name is. It's been a long time since I graduated English class.
Same.
But I think I just approved him to speak.
Hello. Hello guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Once again, I just try to speak. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Amazing. Amazing. Guys, amazing. I'm now just going to ask the first question from the VR. Okay, guys, let's ask the questions. Let's bring the question on the front on there. Just bring the question. Okay. I would ask I would ask the question is the how much we would pay the maintenance for the Mars. Let's 1 minute to go to ask. Guys, he's amazing afraid to speak on the content there. They are really forget to the Natro dynamics. Not in the forget, but not in the forgetting on her mind, but actually they are. काय कशाला शाळेत जायचं तुला थोड्या वेळ आहे ना 5 मिनिटं असेल तेच 9 5 यायचं चालेल
Do you divert from that? But what if you didn't have to do that? What if you could spend Saturday, Sunday, and potentially the entire week just like hearing about space launches? Starlink launches happen sometimes back to back. Elon claims that Starship can be.
So guys, many of the people are there. Maybe it's a distraction for me and my own family members makes me distraction. Okay. Hello, you can hear me? Can you hear me? Jack is really the amazing, but he doesn't make me the speaker. He's a has made me before, but he's now he's remove me the speaker. Amazing. Okay. Hello everybody, you can't hear this voice. Okay. I can't hear the voice. This was going to, I don't know what's happened on there, but I will join again. Okay, I just want to join again. Just try to mix the render and the voice, but not even the can't join. Okay.
We've been talking about Starship, human lander. That was really cool.
Hey, Zack. Something I wanted to comment on is that I'm not sure about the people here in this space, but myself, I'm not in the aerospace community. I don't work in a space company, so I don't have that network of people around me that I can talk about space with. But after joining all these Patreons and getting to know, joining the Discords and getting to know these communities, and then you hosting this space, I think you have, all of these creators have helped open up space to everybody, not just the people working in the industry, but really just bringing everybody from all walks of life. And it's something that I just really, really appreciate about this community.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you enjoy it. Like, it feels small now. I mean, there's only, I'm not gonna look, probably like 60 of us in here, but I have a feeling this is gonna turn into something different. And what I really want to do is just maintain the local community aspect of it, where we're able to like reach out and just like talk to Cosmic Perspective and message them on Patreon. You know what I mean? Like, that's my goal, is to keep the community
Okay,
aspect
amazing
of it and
thing.
like have everybody be able to interact with the people who are bringing them, the content they want to see. And at the same time, I want to be very clear, guys. Um, Everybody who's down here providing this content to you, they're doing that as a full-time job. You know what I mean? So if you make your first trip down to Starbase, you're probably going to be pretty excited when you see them. But like, seriously, please be respectful. And I normally would not say this, but I saw something earlier this week with Jessica Kirsch that made me have to feel like it's necessary to make this statement. Please, please respect people's privacy and their space when you guys go down there. Like, if you ever see Mary Liz and Ryan, they probably have 360 cameras, or sorry, microphones. So anything you say to them is going to get picked up, and you're just going to ruin all of their content. And that's not to say that you shouldn't talk to those people when you go down there, because you should, because they want to talk to you. But just be respectful. And like, the thing, if any of you
I
guys are
have the
watching
coins over
Jessica
there.
Kirsch's stream last
1
night,
hour
that should never
as
happen,
a
ever.
had to
Yeah, thank you so much for
cross.
pointing that out. In Jessica's streams, it's very common to have people walk up, and it's something
Okay,
that
guys,
she
they are not
usually
allowed to
appreciates.
me
And
to talk
basically,
on there.
something you see is a lot of
But
people
actually,
just
I'm
driving
just
down to
try
Starbase,
to
either
get
from
to the
Brownsville
speaker.
or further out in Texas, or maybe they want a road trip, and it's their first time there. So it's great to see all those reactions. But yeah, sometimes we can have that issue where someone doesn't realize they're actually on.
Okay, Jack finish it. Jack has made me the speaker. Thanks to Jack. Thanks, Jack. Take me. Naked person on there. Just think a gap to talk on with there. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me? I want to. Hi. मग साईला सांग आता फोटो काढतो